What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason and Joe here. Today we are reviewing the new release by Sparks. It is called Mad, all caps with an exclamation point. Sparks, if you don't know, are a band who have been around for a long time, since the early 70s. Their first record was produced under the name Half Nelson by Todd Rundgren. And yeah, they've gone through a bunch of iterations and band members, but through it all, it has been the two male brothers. I don't know their entire catalog. I have kind of slowly been knocking records of theirs off as we do our deep dives for different years, and I knew a handful to begin with. I probably have heard a dozen or so of their albums over the years. And some of them I like a lot, and some I don't like as much, but we can get into more of that as we go through this. Are you a Sparks fan?
I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I respect Sparks. There's plenty of Sparks songs that I've liked that I've heard throughout the years, though. I think the first Sparks song I ever heard was actually the Susie and the Banshees cover of This Town Ain't Big Enough for the Both of Us when we were doing their discography. And it's just one of those bands I think Americans rarely ever hear about, and they never hear like their songs on the radio, anything like that. So they've always just been one of those cult bands that have been there and I've heard plenty about. And, I've listened to a couple for the deep dives that we've done, a couple album of the week picks, I think, but I'm by no means an expert learned in their discography. I've probably heard six or seven out of how many? I don't even know. 25, 26 albums they have now.
All right. Well, getting into this new record, I gotta say, I'm not super high on this late period of their career. And like you said, they are a band that I think people have for a long time were not very aware of. And they have had this like renaissance and resurgence, and they had the documentary made about them, and I think a lot more people are aware of this band now than ever before, and I'm glad for that because I think it shines a light on some of their records in the past that didn't get as much attention at the time that I think deserve more attention than they got. But also the new music that they've been putting out since getting this greater acclaim, I don't think has been up to the standard of the early stuff. It kind of feels to me like they've stopped evolving, and all of these records really everything since the Franz Ferdinand collaboration album FFS, all the records in the time since then sound very similar to me. And I don't know, their songs on this record, I think they're really repetitive, and they almost trick you into thinking they're catchy songs just because they bludgeon you with some line over and over again. But if you only heard the line once or twice in the song, it wouldn't stick in your head. I don't think the lyrics are as clever as they think they are, and I don't know, to me they kind of seem like a more accurate version of the Family Guy joke about Randy Newman just like writing about whatever he sees. You can picture them seeing like people walking around with Jansport backpacks and kind of just like jokingly humming to themselves, "She wore a Jansport backpack." And then that's the song, and that's the entire band. That's just like them seeing things and saying it over and over again. Um, so yeah, I don't think this record is great. It has a few moments on it that I thought were a little bit better than the rest, but I'm going 3 stars on it. I've gone 3 stars on everything since the Franz Ferdinand album, and it may seem like I'm being harsh on them, and you may be wondering like why 3 stars even then. Um, but I actually like to me it's not terrible. It's like close to being like old classic Sparks, and I don't think it would take a ton to make these records a lot better. Like I think their production is okay. They've been producing the records themselves. They sound good, but I do think bringing in an outside producer could be beneficial just to help like filter some of the ideas push away some of these like annoyingly repetitive things that aren't really as clever as they think they are, and just maybe like encourage some like more experimentation in like a slightly different direction. Yeah, John Congleton produced the Franz Ferdinand one. I have that record at 3.5 stars. So even just having him around and like other musicians like the Franz Ferdinand guys playing on the record, I think helps and just makes that record a little better than everything since. So I don't think it would take a lot to make them better, but as it stands right now, I think these records are just kind of predictable and boring and just the same thing over and over again. I would shout out A Little Bit of Light Banter as a very good track, though. I think that's the best song they've done in ages.
Yeah, I think I agree with most of what you said. I, however, have not heard any of their most recent albums going back to 1982 was the last time I heard a Sparks album, and that is Angst in My Pants, which I thought was okay. My favorite Sparks album is Terminal Jive, which I don't know if a lot of people in America even knew it existed. I don't even think it came out here originally. It was the second Giorgio Moroder sort of collab that they did after Number One in Heaven, which I thought was okay, but I actually really like Terminal Jive and the direction they went on that. And so, what, that was 45 years ago. Um, in the meantime, in the 45 years hence, I don't know what they did. Um, if this is the style that they've sort of been messing around with for the past couple of years since they came back, it's an okay style. I agree with you that it's very repetitive. Like it is lyrically, they pretty much just harp on those like chorus or the title of the song is just way too much. I don't think there's enough variety in the songs when they lock in. Like it seems, I know there's some bridges and like solos and stuff in there, but it seems just like they keep coming back to the same groove over and over and over, and it's not really danceable either. Like it's just kind of repetitive. It's stuck in a zone between, I think, more interesting things, and it just kind of wears on you over the course of a record. And this is kind of a long record. I like the music and the sound. Like I like the vocals. They actually, oddly enough, remind me of Ghost a little bit. They're sort of chanty and kind of flat. They don't modulate, very much, but I kind of like the sound anyway. I like the heavy um, bass and drums. The synths are good, kind of jagged, a little harsh, a little spooky and mysterious. But they have this good sound, and then they just don't do enough with it. They just lock in. Um, Something like I-405 Rules, you add some strings in, which is nice, and it's a fun juxtaposition to the kind of silly lyrics. But like Don't Dog It, it's just like very repetitive, very chanty. The running up a tab in whatever hotel, just it dwells on that title so often, and these songs are too long. It's just kind of like do something else. Like give me like a weird Giorgio Moroder bridge or something. Like they do a little different. They come right back to it and just kind of beat you to death with it. The lyrics, they're okay. They're sort of the usual smart ass Sparks thing, kind of aloof, a little eccentric, not mean, but kind of like we're better than you. But yeah, I kind of am with you. I didn't really notice anything like really clever, really fun, like Jansport backpack lyrics. Like it feels like there's a point that they're making, but it's undiscernible from the lyrics. Like, are you saying like is this like a assault on capitalism, like consumerism? Like, what is this? Do you hate women? Like, I need a little more from these lyrics to really know what you're going for. And without that, it just kind of comes off as silly and overly monotonous and kind of boring. Um, and I mean, that's it. I like the production. I think it sounds good. It's not, overly synthesized and computerized and kind of, Pro Tools sounding like a lot of these legacy acts tend to devolve into that sound. especially like the rockers and the proggers. And this sounds good. I think the separation and everything is good. I like the production more than, their early 70s stuff, which I felt, just everything bled into each other and it was hard to tell what they were saying. This is a lot clearer. So, I mean, there's plenty of things I think are good about this album, and it's, 50 whatever years into their career, and it's always good to see a band not embarrassing themselves, putting out, pretty decent music, but I think overall I'm not a huge Sparks fan anyway. So this is just going to be, it's like a high 3 stars. Maybe I could get to 3.5 in time, but not yet. So I'm gonna go with the 3 stars for this one too.
All right. Well, we are both at 3 stars. Let us know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe. Check the video description for links to all of the stuff we got going on, social media, merch, Patreon, our record label, our website. It's all down there. Check it out. And also check the post tab on our YouTube channel page. And you'll be able to vote on which of next week's releases we review. So, thanks for watching. We will see you in the next one.